Module 1, Section 8, Objective 10. And remember, this is the application section instead of dividing whole numbers section. And in this one, we are calculating the area of composite rectangles. So what does that mean? That is a composite rectangle. Okay, so you can think of it as a couple different composites, and we'll get into that here in just a second. So Olga is painting her patio that is shown. Determine how many square feet of paint she will need to cover the entire patio. Okay, so let's break this down into a couple shapes that are rectangles and then figure out the dimensions of the rectangles. Okay, we could cut it right here, and that would give you a rectangle here and another one down here. Or we can cut it this way and have one here and one here. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's just let's do the first one just because it's easier. And so if we cut it this way, I'm going to make this rectangle and this rectangle. And how did I know it was easier? I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, so for the blue one, we're going to do area is length times width. Length would be 11, width would be 8. Multiply those, we get 88 square feet. For the green one, area is equal to length times width. Length is 20, width is 7. So 2 times 7 is 14 with the 1 0 on the end, and it's feet squared. To get our final answer, we're going to add these two together. So 140 add 88, and we get 228 square feet. Okay, now let's take a look at it a different way. If I broke it up the other way that I told you about, so we cut it this way, it's not as easy. And the reason, let's see if I can make that better. The reason is I'm missing some sides. Like I don't know what this one is. You can do it, you just have to figure out what the sides are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do it this way so you get a review of that as well. Okay, and here we need this side and maybe that side. We don't really need that side because it's the same as this one, right? Okay, it's part of the 20, this long 20. We didn't know how much, but rectangles are the same on both sides. So that means this is 8 feet. So what is this side? Okay, this whole side is the same as this whole side, right? Okay, now just this part here is the 11, but from here down is 7. Okay, so what that looks like is this top part is 11 and this bottom part is 7. So add those two up and we get 18 feet, right? Okay, so area is length times width of the purple one is going to be 18 times 8. And that's not one I can do in my head, so let's do it off to the side. We get 64 carry 6. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14. So 144 square feet. Okay. Now for the little pink one, we know one side is 7, but now we need the top, right? Okay. We know that this whole side is 20. And we know that from here over is 8. So what do I need to add to 8 to get the 20? Okay, has to be 12, doesn't it? Okay, so if this is 12 feet, then we have the 8 and the 12 to give us the 20. Okay, so that means the dimensions of that other rectangle are 12 times 7. And if you know your 12's times tables, that's 84. Okay, so 144, we're adding these two up now, plus 84 is 228 square feet, same thing. Okay, so the blue and green one was much easier than the purple and pink one, but we got the same answer. Okay, here's another one of those complicated areas that makes it look really bad. Okay, so let's take a look at it on the next page, and I've erased everything. Okay, I've done it 3 different ways because I want to show you the 3 different ways of cutting it up. Okay, so we could cut it right here, and we have this one and this one, right? Or we could cut it right here, and would have 2 rectangles. Okay, there's a third, well, there's actually a third and a fourth, but what if I cut it this way? And then I would have 3 rectangles. Okay, that's a little crazy, so I'm not even going to use that one. But here's something for some of you to try if you would like, and I'm not going to do it either, but this is just to give you something to think about. What if I made that entire rectangle and then I cut this part out? That would make sense, right? Okay, so in that case, you would have the large rectangle subtract that X rectangle. So that's a possibility if you want to try it. Okay, can we see which of these other 2 are easier? Okay, the pink one actually might be the easiest. We'll see that here in just a second. Okay, so if I want to find the dimensions of this rectangle, I know 16, but I don't know this one. And this one, I know the 8, but I don't know that. Okay, so let's try the purple one and see. If I'm going this way, I have the 17, but I don't know this one. And this little one, I have the 9, but I don't know this one. Okay, so I have to find missing sides no matter what. Okay, looking at the pink one, great big rectangle, I know the length and the width. And of the little rectangle, I know both the length and the width. So that one would actually be the easiest. If I call this rectangle 1, let's change it to pink. Rectangle 1 is the big one, and rectangle 2 is the small one. So for 1, I would have 17 times 16. So let's do that one down here at the bottom, because we don't know that one off the top of our heads, right? So 42, carry 4, 6 times 1 is 6, add 4 is 10, move over 1. 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 1 is 1. Add those up. So 272 meters squared. Okay, rectangle 2 is a small one, and it is 8 by 9, right? So that's 72 meters squared. So to find your final answer, we're going to subtract these 2. So 272 minus 72 is 200 meters squared. And just to double check, yep, that's what they got as well. Okay, so let's do the green way and the purple way just to show you, okay? So the green way, let's find the missing sides first. Okay, we know this whole thing is 17, and if we find this side, we've found this side, right? Okay, so I want to do 17 minus this part, and because it's a rectangle, it means that's 8. Okay, so if this is 8, 17 minus 8 is 9. So that part, which is also this part, is 9. Okay, let me clean that up a little bit and I'll put the 9 back. Okay, so there's 9 meters right there. And it's also this side, so I'll write that in. Okay, so now we know the dimensions of this top part. So rectangle 1, area is length times width. So length is 16, width is 9. So 16 times 9, 54, and 14. So 144 meters squared. Rectangle 2. Okay, we have the 8, but we're missing this part, right? Okay, if we know this whole side all the way across is 16, and we know part of it is 9, I want to figure out what this part is. So if this whole thing is 16, and we take 9 off of it, we'll have this leftover piece, which is the same thing as this piece because it's a rectangle. Okay, so 16 minus 9 is 7. So this is 7. Okay, so length times width, 8 times 7, which is 56. Now this time, whoops, didn't put my label, did I? Meters squared. I want to add these two. Okay, so 144 add 56, and sure enough, 200 meters squared. Okay, for the purple one, I'm going to use the values that I already found over on the green one. Okay, so I know this is 7 meters, and I know this is 9 meters. Okay, so I don't need to do that part over again. So rectangle 1, the length of just this part, right, is 17. And the width is the 7. So 17 times 7, 119 meters squared. Rectangle 2, area equals length times width. So this one is 9 by 9. So it's actually a square, isn't it? Okay, and this one added to this one now. So 119 add 81, and sure enough, 200 meters squared. Okay, so there's many different ways you can break it up, but composite figures, you need to break it up somehow, either into smaller parts or into a larger part and take away the portion that you don't need. Okay, looking at B and C, we have some sides that are missing, so we're probably going to have to do some work, aren't we? Okay, let's start with B. Here we go. Okay, so let's see, is there an easier way to cut it? If we cut it this way, we don't know the dimensions here, but we have these, right? If I cut it this way, I don't know the dimensions here, but I have these. So it doesn't matter. It's pretty equal one way or the other. Okay, so let's just go ahead and break it like this. So we have a green one and a purple one. Okay, looking at just the green part, we already know length and width, don't we? Whoops, green, not purple. Okay, so rectangle 1. So length is 16, width is 6. Okay, and since I know I have space on this one, I'm going to do it off here to the side. So it's 96 meters squared. Okay, purple one. So rectangle 2. Area is length times width, and we're missing part of it, aren't we? Okay, let's figure that out. If we know this entire side is 19, I want to find just the purple part, because this side is the same as this side, right? So if I find this side, I've automatically found that side. So 19 minus the green part. So what is this part of the green? It's the same as this part. Because it's a rectangle, these are the same. So this is 6. So 19 minus 6 is 13. Definitely not drawn to scale, is it? Okay. And we know that's true because 6 meters, 13 meters give us the 19 meters. Okay. So now we have the measurements of rectangle 2. 13 by 5. And 13 times 5 is 65 meters squared. Okay. Now we have to add the two numbers together. Okay, so 96 add 65, 161 meters squared is your final answer. Okay, taking a look at this second one here. Is there one way that looks easier than the other? Man, I have no idea. Since we did the last one horizontally, let's do this one vertically, just to see the difference, okay? Or is there a difference? So this is going to be rectangle 1, and this will be rectangle 2. Okay, so blue one first. Area is length times width, and we know both of them. That's good. So we have 12 and 7, right? And 12 times 7 is 84. So 84 meters squared. So far, not too bad. Okay, rectangle 2. Area is length times width. Okay, so we know the width is 8, but we don't know the length. The whole length all the way across is 37, but we don't want all of it. We want to get rid of this part, so we just have the pink part, right? So that green squiggly part is the same thing as this part, so that's 7. So if I take 7 away from the 37, I get 30. So that's not going to be too bad. I chose pretty well, I think. Okay, so the length is 30 and the width is 8. So we can use the 0 trick. 3 times 8 is 24, and then put the 0 in. Meters squared. And we're going to add these two together. Okay, so 240 add 84. So 324 meters squared is your final answer.